Theo Prodromitis, and I'm a marketing strategist. I help global entrepreneurs achieve their potential. So I'm going to jump right into the Amazon mindset. And number one, it is customer centric. And with Jeff Bezos and interacting with some of his executives, it's really been interesting because for a company that is so enormous, I really do see the culture of Amazon running through the threads. There are different silos of people that work in different departments for sure, that don't necessarily know what the other ones are doing, but they all have that in common, that passion and that customer-centric mentality, at least the ones I've experienced from the people who work in Amazon, fulfilled by Amazon, in the actual product, in the development, in customer service, and everything. So if you're thinking about, I did a survey of everybody when they registered, whether they sold on Amazon currently. And for most of you, the answer is no, not yet, or in a limited fashion. So the Amazon mindset was something that I thought was interesting as a seller that I could bring to you that you couldn't get anywhere else. The second thing is the everything store. Can you marry the two of customer centric with the everything store, trying to provide the best products at the best price? You really get a sense for what Amazon's doing. What they do differently is that there's feedback everywhere on everything. If you think about when it's going to get back to that customer experience, what's different about Amazon is that you as a customer are front and center because the whole shopping experience is about you. You can tell them if you don't like the listing, you don't like the picture, you don't like the seller, you do like the seller. Anything that you do, positive and negative, feedback is everywhere. And then when you go onto the Amazon seller side, that's the case as well. What are you solving? So Amazon solved a problem that we didn't know we had, which was that we had no opportunity to give feedback on the retail experience except for to have a confrontation with the manager. And I wish I could see a show of hands. You can type it in the chat box. How many of you have dreadedly had to escalate to getting a manager when you really probably would have wished that you could have? Yes, Sharon raised her hand. So thank you, Sharon, and welcome. That is what makes Amazon unique. So when you're framing out whether your product or service, what it can do to solve a problem maybe that your customers didn't even know that they had. And then the other part about the Amazon mindset is the item must match the description. And that might sound obvious, but the customer centricity and the truth, because all you have is the Amazon listing page, that it was imperative starting that the item must match the description. So as an potential Amazon seller, I hope at the end of this, everybody decides to jump on board and at least market something, because it's a fantastic opportunity, is that you believe to yourself, oh, of course, the item will match the description. But customers are very discerning. The Amazon customer is sophisticated. They are not just discount shoppers that are looking for the next latest deal. Yes, they demand great prices, but that's not the key. The key is that an Amazon customer is sophisticated and that the item must match the description because that's what they have to go by. And if you say it's 4 ounce, it can't be 4.25 ounce. You think if you're giving them more, that would be better, but they're buying 4 ounce. You can't make marketing presumptions for customers like in other environments where you think more is better. So in thinking about how you would present your brand on Amazon, keeping in mind that that's what they have to go on and to be as exact and specific, that's a real key to the Amazon mindset, that these 4 boxes here are the synthesis of the years of experience that I have at Amazon, and it's not something you're going to read anywhere else. This is just my perspective on what has made us successful selling on Amazon. Ask yourself, what do you know best? What do you love? And where can you add value for your customers? That's what it's all about at the end of the day. Check your category for details. And when I say that, there are categories of beauty, there's home and garden, there's all the different categories, and they have different requirements and different, so to speak, restrictions. So you may have to provide an invoice to show that you're in business. That's within the last 90 days, that has a certain volume, but your category is going to be a really important facet within Amazon. That's how you start to pare down. How do you, in the everything store, differentiate yourself? Amazon is brilliant at putting the categories and treating them differently, so they have some inherent and unique features, and they have a handmade category as well. So they really have responded to other platforms like Etsy. If you're in the handmade category, they have certain nuances and unique features that are unique to you, and requirements for that, for customization and for being customer centric. They're going to help address those needs. They're always evolving. So what to sell, I believe, is a very important question, and there's a process. So check your category first. There are two types of sellers on Amazon, and which one are you? And I believe everybody on the call is going to fall into the brand owner category, but you can do both. I'm going to talk first about being a brand owner, because in my heart, that is the greatest opportunity. But you have to be a trademark owner of whatever brand you are, and it has to be a registered, it can't be on the supplemental trademark list, it has to be a registered trademark. And if anybody needs any more information about that, I do have an intellectual property course, a short course on that. If you need help with it, I can certainly help. I think you guys are past that, but you have control of your brand. And then you have what is called A+ content. A+ content is going to be an enhanced opportunity to tell your story on Amazon. If you think about an Amazon listing page and how it has a picture and some bullet points, it's pretty static. It's not really an interactive, but A+ content, when you go further down, you get to tell your brand story. You get to have more pictures. You get to add some videos. It's a real benefit. They're really coming along in building up the brands. They also have internal programs, which they have brilliant people launching all the time, different kinds of programs. Currently, if you're a brand owner and you're launching, they have a program called Vine, which is a way for you to get initial reviews. They get people that buy your product, or they can give it away for you. And then they get to have the customer experience. And as we talked about being customer centric, everything's about the feedback. There's a rating on each product, which is what people go by to buy it. And then there's a rating on each seller. So as a seller, if you're going to be selling your own products, it's really important to maintain high ratings. And then Launchpad, and that's a special program for people who are launching new products, and it's worth investigating. So tons of benefits at Amazon for being a brand owner. But there's also the opportunity to either do both, or to also be a reseller. And as a reseller, what you can do is find consistent high quality supply chain of other products that you still have expertise in. So you're going to know when you're listing it, and you can be confident that you're going to be providing everybody a high value, and you're offering the convenience, and just focus on what value you add. So for instance, in the reseller category, if you are going to resell, if you're a massage therapy studio and you're currently closed and you need to innovate and sell something, and you're going to be a reseller, you may want to resell the yoga mats that you use, or the candles, or something that goes along with your story that you're an expert in, that you currently use, and find the supplier, develop a relationship, and then secure a high quality, consistent supply chain. That's the most important thing, because your rating is going to depend on it. And you're not going to want to risk launching and having that undermined by subpar quality, because quality is going to always win. Contrary to what people think, which is just a trading of all kinds of things that are a lower quality, cheapest price, it's really been my experience that the high quality products always win. and most importantly, securing your supply chain. If you are marketing something, you want to make sure that your supplier can meet your volume and that they have the consistent quality, that they don't change. If you're deciding between the two, brand owner or reseller, you can always start as a reseller and then while you're developing your brand, or you can be a brand owner and then you can also offer things that are for resale. So it's really nice because you don't have to choose one or the other. It's just understanding that there are different programs. Reseller, it's more competitive because you're going to have other people on the listing, other people that have access to buying the product. And as a brand owner, you can control that. The other point that I want to make and back up, just as a comparison, because a lot of people ask me, eBay, if you're not familiar with it, is a platform where you create a listing for every product you offer. Amazon is a catalog, and there's one listing for the product and the UPC. And everybody that sells that is intended by the terms of service of Amazon, the 20-page document that I've read many times and changes all the time, that one UPC, one listing, so that there's consistency. And that's a totally different model. So if you're thinking and making those final decisions of whether Amazon is right for you, consider whether you want to take a picture for every product you have, because then there's going to be 1,000 listings for a spray on wax. There could be 1,000 listings for it, but on Amazon, there's one listing and then you have to compete within that. So there are benefits both ways in my business model and for what I teach. We do sell on eBay several different ancillary items, but it's not a big portion. We stay active on all of the major platforms just to stay relevant, but always earn the volume at Amazon. So deciding which way you want to go. Some insider information, as I talked about wanting to make this unique and valuable, is what are the misconceptions that I've heard about Amazon? And some of the misconceptions that they have about Amazon, which might be running through this group as well, is that selling on Amazon is difficult. It isn't difficult. It is something that you have to just decide to go all in. They have tutorials on everything. And if you just chunk it out and take baby steps and pick a couple of the highest opportunity items that you have, it's not as difficult as it appears. Doesn't Amazon compete with you? Don't they have an unfair advantage? And the answer is, in my experience, no. If you have your brand and your program and you're providing the highest quality products, they want you to win because they make money when you do. And the stats from Mr. Bezos's stakeholder letter, 58% of the sales on Amazon, so imagine what piece of the pie that is, enormous, come from third-party sellers. So it's a great opportunity. The third one is that you have to know about online selling. You don't. In fact, it might be a benefit if you don't, because then you're going to just read the terms and you're just going to go by the Amazon program. As long as you follow what they say, list here. And I'm going to go through and give you guys some of the inside story on my years of experience of what to do and what not to do, because I've done it all. Certainly haven't done it perfectly, and have the great opportunity to share with you what works and what doesn't. There's two ways to get started. One is as an individual, and that's if you're really not sure. So it's you sell fewer than 40 items a month, so you really just want to stick your toe in. You can sell it for 99 cents an item. $39.99 a month is for the professional selling plan, and that's if you have more than 40 items per month, meaning one item that sells 40 individual each. So it's for most people. There's two ways to ship products within Amazon. One is fulfilled by Amazon, and one is fulfilled by merchant. And just like the two types of sellers, being a brand owner and also being a reseller, you don't have to decide which one to do. You can do both. And on an individual item, you can do both, which is what we do. We send our products in to Amazon, and then it's eligible for Amazon Prime. When people see the cost, they get shocked and they say it's an average cost of 32% without advertising. But I can tell you very specifically that it can be still very profitable, because we're going to get into later what they basically do for you. And there's a lot of benefits to that. And if you can find a product that has that profit structure, you're going direct to consumer. You don't have to pay a middleman. You don't have to pay a distributor. FBA is fantastic. And as logistics experts, which is why you would sell on Amazon and pay somebody 32%, is because they know consumer buying trends. And the more you sell on there, the better they get at, they get the product shipped to their regional warehouses and they move it around for you, so it's closest to the customer. That's how they deliver. That's their secret sauce of how they deliver Amazon Prime, is because their computer algorithm knows where the consumer buying trends are and where they need to have 2 of them in Kentucky, excuse me, and 16 in California, so that when a buyer does click, you know, the one click to buy or Amazon Prime, that it gets there really quickly, sometimes even quicker than 2 days. So a good strategy for starting on Amazon is to start with Fulfilled by Merchant, get your feel for the platform, get your feel for if customers are responding, and know that you're going to sell more when you go to FBA. It's just a fact. We have about 90% of our products in Fulfilled by Amazon, but we've built up to that. And when we introduce a new item, we do a balanced strategy. We start out with Fulfilled by Merchant to get proof of concept and gain feedback about the product. And in case anything needs to be fine-tuned, tweaked, gives you time. What are the keys to success? This is where I was saying that I really wanted to add great value for you and give you something that you couldn't get on Seller University or on any other training. These are the keys that I really would highlight as the most important if you're taking the leap. Number 1 is become a listing expert. The other part is having great photos. The next point is a great description. The other key to success is to answer customer service within 24 hours. One of the other keys to success is don't promote leaving Amazon or redirect customers to your website. The next one is ask for product and seller feedback to learn the Amazon jargon, of course, because it's the world of acronyms. The next key for success is don't list another big red X. Important one. And it's don't list an item that's already on Amazon. And if you do need UPCs for your items, I definitely encourage you to do it if you currently don't use them. So we're on to the key terms. And I talked about the jargon and some of the things that you're going to want to familiarize yourself with. FBA, Fulfilled by Amazon. SKU, everybody probably knows what that is, but it's your own within Amazon. You have your seller, your own identification number for that item. One of the key points here is that if you're selling your item in Fulfilled by Amazon and also Fulfilled by Merchant, you have different SKUs, and we use it according to the bin in the warehouse where the product's located. So B00 whatever, so that we know when somebody's picking the order. But for you, you could just separate them by saying, you know, in-house or FBA. It's your own identification number. Fulfilled by Merchant, we talked about detail page is the Amazon listing page. Everybody has visited one, I'm almost sure. I did a recent survey for my upcoming book, and I asked everybody where they buy their books. And I was not surprised, but really it's a staggering stat that 80% of the respondents said that they bought their books on Amazon. That's pretty amazing. So Amazon, that is to encourage you too, is that's the way that I say it, is to meet your customers where they are. They're going to Amazon. So whatever you do, having a presence there probably makes sense, so that they can find you easily, and hopefully do business by buying something. The ASIN is the Amazon Standard Identification Number. That's how the people refer to it, as ASIN. And suppressed is something you never want to see, but it's an inactive listing with errors. It's not tragic. It just means you need to address something. Either your image quality is not good, you haven't, got the right price. If you've set a minimum and a maximum, if you go outside of that, it will make the listing. It's going to really sort of look out for you. It's great. You can't make an egregious pricing error. That's one thing I love about Amazon, is that when I first started selling, I was always afraid with a keystroke that I was going to sell a $100 item for $1 by mistake. But they give you an opportunity to set minimum and maximum and to safeguard you from that. So suppressed is something that you just overcome, you address it. So first on the checklist and is going to be deciding which product to sell. So you're going to research the category. We talked about the different categories, whether it's home and garden or beauty or whatever. And then this is the best advice I could ever give you, $1 million advice, is go to the top 100 selling competitive items. And there's a link here. And what Amazon does is it actually ranks them. And you can go and visit in health and beauty or in home and garden, whatever, what are the top 100 selling competitive items. Then within those, study their listings. See what terminology, how many bullet points, do they have pictures, do they have reviews, what do the reviews say? Dive in to high spot about 10 of them that you recognize or don't recognize, keywords, rankings. Amazon also does something which is really helpful, and it's one of the inside stories. If you haven't noticed, there's something on there that is called a sales ranking, and it will give you a perspective as to where it's ranked in the overall Amazon catalog. And sometimes people are surprised, but there's so many products on there, millions and millions of products. So a good ranking within a category of home goods would be if spatula was ranked 3,000, and it says Amazon seller ranking, it's right on the listing page. If it's ranked 3,000 in that category, that's actually good. It gives you a sort of an indication of how many they sell. If something is in the top 100, that means they're the top 100 on Amazon, they are selling tens of thousands in many cases. So you can find your clues about your competitive category and where you fit in and whether you have something unique and you have something that's a differentiator by going to the 100, this link, the 100 top selling items in your category. That's the best advice I can give you, and to become familiar with the listings of your competitors and dive in and see what keywords are in their listing. Then make a selling strategy. Decide if you're going to do FBA, fulfilled by merchant, the number of products, and what your differentiation is. Select the type of account, individual or professional. These links all here are live where you can just click on and do it. List your first product using Seller University to walk through the best practices. So not only will you have this webinar to refer to, this isn't a deep dive into the how-to, or step by step. Amazon has something called Seller University, which is an ongoing basis, and they have short consumable videos on every single thing. How to make your bullet points, how to size your picture, everything has. So they've really done some fantastic work for you, and they continue to add videos all the time. And then, of course, the fun part is use the profit calculator to assess your best approaches. And the fees vary, so it's best to check it. What you do is you actually put your product in there, and then you can see how much the charges would be to sell that. You could pick a competitive product and say an example, and then when I said the range is 15 to 32%, it does vary. So you can go in there and get actual costs. So use the profit calculator. There's two different models. One is for fulfilled by merchant, because they don't know the shipping cost. And then the other one is fulfilled by Amazon, and they're going to allow you to compare. There's tons and tons of tools for success.